I have been a little bit hesitant to share this video. I'm a little bit nervous to talk about it because this is something that is so dear to the YouTube community, specifically the minimalist YouTube community. I have seen so many people post videos titled something like Look Poor, the importance of looking poor, why you should look poor. There's something about it that rubs me the wrong way. And I know if I'm feeling this, I think other people are feeling this too. So I want to dig a little deeper into this. In general, I agree with the message of these videos, but I really feel like it could use some workshopping. So, the overall gist of these videos is that you should not care about the image that you project to the outside world. Like, you don't need to worry about wearing designer clothes, luxury items, having a nice fancy car, a super fancy apartment or house. Like, you should not be worrying about those things because there is so much more to life than that. And there are more important things that you could be spending your money on. Also, not trying to keep up with the Joneses just lets you let go of, societal expectations, ego, and ultimately a lot of people who look rich or like dress in designer clothes, fancy clothes, that kind of thing are not actually rich. They're just projecting this. And I agree with all of these ideas. Like, I support all of these ideas and I think that they're good ideas. However, I just feel like uncomfortable with the phrasing. Like, look poor, telling people to look poor. Like, what do you mean by look poor? What does that really mean? Like, are you really sure you want to phrase it that way? A lot of these creators are suggesting basically wearing a uniform, and a lot of the time, the uniform is like a black t-shirt and jeans and just buying like 7 of the same outfit or just variations of that outfit. If we're trying to tell people to look poor and our example of looking poor is having 7 of the same outfits or only wearing a couple outfits or sticking to a certain fashion aesthetic, like that's so far from reality. And I'll just speak to myself. I lived below the poverty line for several years. I would say it was like 4 years post graduating from college. I lived below the poverty line. And that was between working my full time job after I graduated from undergrad and during grad school. Like, both of those times, I was well below the poverty line, living in a high cost of living area. And I most definitely had multiple outfits. Like, I wasn't going out and buying clothes at Gucci, but I did have a variety of outfits. I just think there is some nuance that needs to be made here between following a certain aesthetic and basically wearing a uniform versus like shopping your individual style with while living within your means, because you can do that. I did that while living below the poverty line. I would shop at thrift stores, consignment stores. A lot of my clothes are just hand-me-downs from my friends. Like, you don't have to be super rich to have multiple outfits, and to suggest that poor people look a certain way is just like a little bit offensive. Does anyone else feel a little bit offended by this? Because there's just something a little bit off about it. And I kind of want to challenge it. Like, I kind of want to see what other people have to say about it because it just seems a little bit off. I think there's something off about the fact that so many of these huge creators like Humphrey Yang, Graham Stephan, like, they are making videos like this. While we know that they are multimillionaires, them preaching this, it just feels off. I feel like it comes from a place of privilege of like, Graham Stephan can wear whatever he wants and he can wear the same outfit every day. He could literally never shower and he would be fine. Like, he wouldn't be fired. He probably would have like some complaints, but it doesn't really matter. Like, he's the boss of his own business that he has. There's like more nuance that needs to be had when we think about this, because people who are not Graham Stephan, it does matter what you wear. It does matter the way that you present yourself to society, whether that be in dating, whether that be in trying to make friends, like going to college, or whether that be trying to get a new job or being taken seriously in a job. Like what you wear does matter for most people. I would say the people that are making this video seem to be the outliers, like the people with their own successful business that are able to like step out from this. When people say look poor, a lot of these videos talk about like even Graham Stephan. I don't know why I keep picking on him. His video just like sticks in my mind for some reason. He talks about wearing the same H&M shirts every day, and he has been wearing them for like 5 or 10 years. I genuinely don't think most people should be shopping at H&M. I think if you are financially able to afford things that are not fast fashion, you should not be shopping at fast fashion. And I don't want to criticize the people to whom fast fashion is the only available clothing, like within their budget. But if you have the budget to buy something that is not made with slave labor, you should be doing it. And that is also something that kind of bugs me about these creators making these videos, because if you're promoting like not spending any money on your clothes, like barely spending any money on your clothes, like shopping fast fashion, but you are a multimillionaire, like you have the means to be spending money on your clothes, you can wear multiples of the same outfit and have it not be fast fashion. And I wouldn't say that's like taking away from your stance if you're doing this from like a spiritual stance of like, I'm taking away the ego aspect of dressing up for others and I'm purposefully wearing the same outfit every day to like Steve Jobs or something, you know, like I'm purposefully wearing the same outfit every day to create focus or, you know, become closer to God or like just take away from the societal expectation that you have to dress up, like that kind of thing. You can still buy your clothes from more ethical sources than fast fashion. I also think that there is like a dogmatic aspect to these videos. And again, these videos are raising an objection to dogmatic thinking in general. Like we already have this kind of black and white thinking in our society, in certain segments of our society, especially like on social media, like certain outfits, certain ways of dressing, certain clothes, certain brands signal that you are rich, and certain outfits, certain ways of dressing signal that you are poor. And I think that this alternative of look poor on purpose, like wearing the same outfit every day or wearing only clothes from H&M, like, or fast fashion, like just cheaper clothes, it's like a dogmatic answer to an already dogmatic problem. I like that it's challenging our societal expectation of looking rich equals good and looking poor equals bad, but I feel like it's challenging the idea with the opposite idea, and in that way it's kind of the same idea. Things are just a lot more nuanced, and there is a large gray area between looking poor and expressing yourself and wearing things that you're comfortable in but that are appropriate for the occasion. You can live frugally and still present yourself well. There is a different YouTube community that makes videos all about presenting yourself in a certain way in order to get certain outcomes. Specifically, I've been fed a lot of videos like this through my YouTube algorithm related to dating and what I would phrase as like being accepted into high society. Specifically, I'm thinking of Anna Bay. Her channel used to be called School of Affluence, I believe. She made videos about how women can look expensive. These are her words. Looking expensive as a woman, and she would review outfits or talk about certain items of clothing or go shopping in person and tell her opinion of what she thinks looks expensive. Her idea behind this is that certain segments of society will interpret how you dress in certain ways. I totally agree with this. I think that this is something that we can't just ignore and brush under the rug. Like, how you dress does actually affect how people feel about you. I only have experience living life as a woman, so I can't really speak to men's experience. But in my experience, like talking with my guy friends, I do think that women have more of a pressure on them to dress in a certain way. I think both men and women have pressure on them to look a certain way. I think for men, it's a lot more with like physique and bodybuilding, that kind of thing, being a certain height or maybe having like a certain face shape or a haircut. But for women, we also have all that. And then additionally, we have expectations on us with our clothes. And I would say it's both from men that we might be dating, but also from other women. Like, we get a lot of backlash from other women for the way that we dress. Unfortunately, that's just how life is. And I feel like as we age, we kind of move away from that. But for me, that was very prevalent basically from elementary school through college. Yeah, I don't think it was really an issue in grad school, but like through college, people would judge me for how I dressed, and both men and women would judge me for how I dressed. And I think ignoring that reality is just, it's kind of going to set you up for failure if you wear the same thing every day to school or to work. Expect to be judged for it. I don't agree with this. I'm just saying, like, this is kind of how it is. And even though I don't agree with everything Anna Bay says, like, specifically, I really disagree with the phrasing of look expensive when it comes to women, because what do we mean about expensive? Like, I don't like putting these value names on women, like financial value names on women, because there is just a shady history of what it means to be valued financially as a woman. And I don't like it. I don't like the way that she phrases it. She is capturing a real cultural idea, like a real thing that people experience. People are judged for the way that they present themselves. Whether or not you like it, it just is what it is. In fact, studies have shown that people who look more put together and put more effort into their appearance are more valued and trusted in business settings. So you're more likely to get business opportunities if you do put effort into your appearance, your clothing. So if you choose to look poor, and by look poor, I'm referring to the way that these YouTube creators have named looking poor, have phrased look poor. If you choose to look poor by wearing the same H&M outfit every day, you might be setting yourself up for failure. And I just want to acknowledge that, because again, we're hearing this message from Graham Stephan and Humphrey Yang and the lot, like people who already have very successful businesses and are multimillionaires and are not trying to hustle for a job. I really enjoy fashion. Whenever I'm watching movies or TV shows, this is one of my favorite parts to look at, like especially historical fashion. I just think it's so fun and interesting. And to totally discount this as something that is like frivolous, I just think it's not fair. I think that a lot of people get a lot of enjoyment out of fashion, and it's kind of an appreciation of an art. And I think throwing it away is really to the detriment of our society. Exploring your own personal fashion, at least for me, like it was an essential part of my girlhood and growing up and discovering who I am and what I feel comfortable in. I also want to say that as someone who has fluctuated in weight, I mean, not a tremendous amount, but enough that I have like felt uncomfortable in certain pieces of clothing and needed to just like figure out what I felt good in my body. Exploring fashion was part of that, like learning how to dress in a way that made me feel comfortable, which meant going out and buying different types of clothing and trying new things out. doing that was essential in building up my self confidence when it came to my body image. And when I'm wearing certain pieces of clothing, I genuinely do feel better about myself. I feel more confident. And if I'm wearing specifically like low rise jeans, I don't like the way I look. I don't feel confident. I just I would move about the world in a different way than when I'm wearing the kind of clothes that I like to wear. So to just discount fashion as something vain and frivolous is just a disservice to us, to us who are like learning to love ourselves and learning to appreciate our bodies as we go through life and age and our weight fluctuates and we go through puberty. Looking poor in the way that a lot of these YouTubers have described is kind of like an overcorrection. And in its own way, it's like its own form of fashion snobbery. Like, you're going away from being a snob about wearing designer clothes and you're going into being a snob about spending the least amount on your clothes you possibly can, or only wearing a certain minimalist aesthetic. The last thing I want to say is that I feel like this minimalist fashion aesthetic is born out of a pendulum swing of the logo mania, like the crazy intense outfits of the mid 2000s. We swung from that into something very simplistic, very minimal that is being idealized. And I'm sure we're going to swing back in the other direction. It's just how fashion is. All this to say, I basically agree with these ideas that these videos about looking poor are talking about, but I just think that it could be delivered in different packaging and that packaging could be more effective and less offensive. And I just think this idea needs a little bit more nuance, a little bit more gray area. If you want to wear something super flashy and have different outfits every day and you're doing that within your means, like, who's to stop you? I think that's amazing. Have fun. Go for it. I'd love to hear your thoughts or comments in the comment section. I'd love for this to be an open discussion where we're not judging each other for our fashion choices or what we think about these look poor videos, but more just having an open discussion about this idea. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have the best day.